Hello, so here we are then in what social justice warrior pussies would like to call no non-gender specific person's sky. But then if you're watching this channel, chances are that, like me, you think those sort of people are absolute fucking wankers. Starters I mean to go on. Anyway, for this one I'm going to do a comparison of the main weapon types of each of your vessels. So that is your Photon Cannon, the Phase Beam, the Cyclotron Ballista, the Positron Ejector, the Infra Knife, Accelerator. There's also the missile launcher. That's a little bit different. I'll save that till last if I even cover it, because it's far from a main weapon type, at least not once you've got a little way into the game anyway. So what I plan on doing is using the Explorer for the most part, because it's damage bonuses +0, which all Explorers are regardless of type. So what you will see is the actual damage from the weapon itself. There won't be any class bonus boosting that. Now I can do that with 3 of the weapons, but the last 2, possibly 3, I've got no option because I don't have them fitted to this. And all the other ships that I have all have damage class bonus. So with this ship then we'll obviously be testing the Photon Cannon, the Phase Beam and the Cyclotron Ballista. So in the case of all the weapons I use, they will all be fully upgraded, so they have the 3 S-Class upgrades and the manufactured upgrade from the blueprint fitted. So even though a couple of ships will have damage class bonuses, it shouldn't, you know, skew the results too badly. At least I hope not. So what we're going to do, we're going to hyperspace to another system, because I've certainly played the game long enough and have made plenty of jumps, so I know that if I hyperspace in one of my starships, I will arrive in a system and have a capital ship battle right in front of me. So that means we have the perfect opportunity to try out the weapons. I will also only use the one particular weapon that I'm testing out on that attempt throughout the entire battle. I will not change the weapon. So it will give you an idea of how quickly you can dispatch enemies. Now I should also point out that this applies to if you play the game the way I do, or if you're space combat. If you do that the same way I do, then you've got a very obvious guide. There's no right or wrong way of doing space combat, well, providing you're not destroyed. And likewise, there's no right or wrong weapon. They all have their plus points. They also all have their negative points. So I've already chosen a destination. You can see it right there. So it's very close. So let's go. This first test will be of the Photon Cannon. And the reason I want to start with this one is because this is the weapon that every ship in the game has fitted, and you'll get an idea as to whether or not you want to upgrade this or ignore it and install whatever else. Looks like there are a couple of ships around. Let's just make sure. Yeah, right, Photon Cannon, here we go. So that's all I'm using. This battle doesn't look like it's a particularly intense one. It looks like, yeah, there's only 4 more attack ships left after this. You can see, okay, the damage doesn't go down much per shot, but because your shots, you know, you're firing pretty quickly, you are actually able to damage the enemy vessels at a fair old rate. The other thing is the heat generated from it is not that high, so you should be okay for the most part. Of course, when you get the ×2 bonus there, it really is a fucking piece of piss. I'll play this as if, you know, it is a legit go, but that means no attacking or no accidentally shooting the freighter that I'm supposed to be defending. There you go. So that's... No, it's not all of the enemy starships, at least I don't think it is. No, that starship's fine. It's showing as an enemy, but that's because I accidentally shot it. So now I'm just waiting for it to show that the battle is over. There we go. So that's the Photon Cannon. So the damage rate is quite steady, nothing impressive, but because it doesn't overheat very quickly, you can get an awful lot of hits in, and the travel time for each shot is quite quick, so it's none too bad. Right, on to the next weapon. Alright, so for this one we will use the phase beam and only that one. There we go, again a very simple looking battle. Skip that. Right, phase beam selected. So it's only this weapon. Let's see how we do this time. Now the thing with the phase beam is that its damage per second, alright, is not brilliant, but once you've got the ship in your sights, you can't miss. It does have a lock, a sort of lock on, and as soon as you press fire, that's it, your weapon is hitting. Now it's not constant damage, it's not like say the beam lasers in Elite Dangerous, but it will get you like, you know, 2 hits per second. Yeah, fucking right. Now this is a weapon that, to be honest, I find of limited use. It's good for mining asteroids, but yeah, for anything else, it's not for me. Where's the other? It's not going to let me target the other one. This fucker is staying right in there. Let it come down. Final enemy ship. And there we go. So, that is the phase beam. So it I may not like it much myself. That is not to say it's useless. I say it has some sort of auto lock. So if you've got your enemy ship in range and it's in your sights here, as soon as you press fire, you are hitting. You also see that once you've got it upgraded fully, you can fire a long old burst with the things before it overheats. No matter what ship you're up against, this long a burst of fire will destroy whatever ship you are taking on. Okay, so that is the phase beam then. Next. Okay, now for this one we're on to like the real big league weapons. So this is the Cyclotron Ballista. This is the weapon that I use more than all others combined. Its damage rate is immense. It's not the highest damage though, not by any stretch. But the combination of range, damage, if I actually did have it selected, there we go. I mean, you have no problem with any ship you care to mention, but the shot speed is a bit slow. So if you are firing as I just did then from quite a distance, there is a chance that the enemy ship will be able to see your shots coming in and quickly move out of the way, especially if they're in something like a fighter and they can turn quite quickly. If they're in something like a hauler, then yeah, they're doomed. I mean, look at that. Because he had his back to me, I had the bonus, the ×2 bonus, so I was doing double the amount of damage, and it one shot destroyed it. If we look at damage potential, 4,510, that is the damage potential for the Cyclotron Ballista because it's the most powerful weapon I've got fitted to this ship. So yeah, I mean it's great if you are one of those players who, like me, you go into combat fairly slowly. You look here, I'm doing 130 and still dropping, and a lot of time I will be doing combat at this sort of speed. My, attack speed for me is barely into the hundreds. So I basically wait for the enemies to come to me, and the Cyclotron Ballista works quite well for that, as my fag is all about to go out. And that's why it is my weapon of choice. If you prefer more action orientated, you want to be going at a fast old rate and flying towards the enemy. The slow shot speed of the Cyclotron Ballista may mean that it's not the weapon for you. Okay, time for the next one. Okay, now for this next one I'm going to have to change ship because, well, I don't have any of the remaining weapons fitted to my Explorer. So we'll go into Exotic Squid of Death, which is my exotic that has the Positron Ejector fitted. Now it's damage class bonus plus 49. That's pretty shit actually for an exotic. But I mean, you can see damage potential 7,805, so it is a hell of a lot higher than the Cyclotron Ballista. Positron Ejector has the highest damage of any weapon. Its damage per second can reach a ridiculous 40,000. But that comes at a cost, and it's quite a significant cost. Firstly, its range is very short. It's only its range is only 400. Everything else is in the thousands. And also, it has a very wide spread. Each shot fires 20 of these like positron charges, whatever. And if you do really well, 3 of them might hit your target. On the plus side, if 3 of them hit the target, that's usually good enough to destroy the ship straight away. Now, I admit I am hopeless with this weapon. It's definitely not a weapon for someone who goes into combat and plays combat the way I do. So this could be difficult. So first of all, I've got to get him in range. Using range, but there we go. So destroyed straight away. There's another enemy ship there, but he's heading towards the capital ship. Can't take him out. Let's see. Around here, where's the next enemy ship? They're all so close to the capital ship, and of course the spread of this weapon means I will hit the capital ship. There we go. So I think, no, yeah, he did go down. I mean, it doesn't really matter in this particular example because I'm just going to do what I've been doing, reload the save, and you know, job done. But if you are playing this for real, then yeah, you've got to be careful not to attack the or not to accidentally hit the capital ship or any friendly ships with the spread of fire. But also notice it overheats really quickly. But on the plus side, yeah, that many shots should be enough to destroy. If they're all coming at you, that will destroy half a dozen ships like that. So yeah, it's definitely for close range. I must admit I did better that time than I thought I would. Maybe I should use the Positron Ejector a bit more often. Okay, next weapon. Right, now for this one I'm going to have to go into White Exotic of Death, because this is to show the Infra knife Accelerator, and this is the only ship I have that has the Infra knife Accelerator fitted. Damage class bonus again is pretty crap, 48, and you look at the damage potential, 1569, and bearing in mind, you know, the last 2 weapons I've shown, that looks really low. Well, let's take a look. So here again, it says I cannot, because I haven't got any fucking fuel in my ship. Right, we would have if I actually had some fuel in my ship, so I've done that now. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. Okay, so Infra knife Accelerator. Now, because I've got this fully upgraded, I actually fire from 3 cannons instead of just the 1. Okay, let's go for this cunt. Here we go. Now you can see the firing rate is extremely fast. It's by far the fastest of the lot, but it overheats very, very quickly. So you need to be very accurate with it. But if you do have good accuracy, then despite the supposed low DPS of this thing, I mean, you can see just how fast you can take out enemy ships with this. Just because the damage is showing as low, it's basically a souped up Photon Cannon. The one thing you do not want to do when you're using this weapon is just constantly fire long old bursts. You've got to fire pretty short, controlled bursts of fire at any of the vessels you're targeting. Otherwise, you are going to overheat this weapon very quickly indeed. Here's the other side of that. There he is. I've accidentally hit the freighter here, so that wouldn't do me too many favours if I was playing this properly. Okay, okay, he's the other fucking side, that's why. This last fighter is being a right cunt. He's just constantly hanging around the capital ship. Yeah, outrage. He's on the other side again. I'm starting to wonder if it hasn't fucked up and it's got him embedded in the. Here we go. Here we are. Got him. So because the Infra Accelerator does overheat so quickly, and the damage rate seems slow, but because, you know, damage per shot rather seems low, the actual rate of fire is so much quicker. Looks like, yeah, the the ship that I was defending there has just buggered off. Oh well. Yeah, so the firing rate of the Infra Accelerator makes up for how supposedly little damage each shot actually does. But you do need to, say, use the shot sparingly. Just do, you know, short bursts of fire, and you should be okay. Now the final weapon, which I'm not going to reload and just use the rocket launcher because that would be ridiculous. But with the rocket launcher, we piss off these freighters, take their cargo holds or something. There he goes. I can't target him yet because he's classed as a friendly. The missile launcher is a pretty good first weapon if you are. Okay, that went straight through fucking thing. Let's see if I can target a cargo pod. There we go. So it's sent out sentinels after me as a result of this. I mean, they do an awful lot of damage, obviously per hit. But they are quite slow at firing. They're great for a first weapon when you're just starting in the game, because your Photon Cannon, when it's underpowered, doesn't do a great deal. Now the rocket launcher cannot be upgraded insofar as you can't you know, get any of the like S class, A, B, C class upgrades for it, but you can fit a blueprint upgrade. There we go. So that's that cunt down. Just using the rocket launcher. That's got me on grade 2 if I wanted. And that's long since gone out. See how we do against the grade 2 Sentinel ships. Go. So with the missile launcher, you really do want to have it paired up with another weapon. It doesn't have to be a particularly, you know, massively powerful weapon. So, like I say, one of the reasons why it's good as a first weapon there is that let's get out of the way of this cunt. Is you can pair it up with your, you know, your starter Photon Cannon, and or even with phase beam, and you should be doing okay. So there's another one down. But once you're able to upgrade, you know, any of the other weapons there, whether it be the Infra Accelerator here, whether it be the certainly whether it be either of the two big weapons, the Cyclotron Blister or the Positron Ejector, you really don't need the rocket launcher after that. So yeah, I mean, this has really been little more than a visual sort of comparison between them. I haven't really been able to demonstrate a huge difference between the weapons there, but this is the lot. This is what you have. Like I say, they all have their plus points. They also all have drawbacks, and depending on your space combat style, you shouldn't really have any problems regardless of which weapon you use. So they all sort of boil down to your particular you know, choice of how you're going to do space combat. I guess I'll just tack this onto the end. I mentioned in my last live stream that I was going to build on my base a bridge that connected the rear part of it towards the towards the land, so you had another way of walking off the base and getting onto the land there. Well, I've built it, and well, we'll take a look. It takes ages to load my base up now. There you can see it already. So we can now walk from the rear entrance stroke exit right along here and walk straight onto the land. Now, okay, it is all made from these small cuboid rooms. I've put a wall inside here. I'll go inside and I'll show you yeah, there's a dividing wall there, so you can't walk down that area. It's purely to use externally. But I'm not sure if I like it. And okay, yes, it does have its practical use, but I think it looks awful, and yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. What do you reckon? Well, anyway, so that is that video done, I think. So that's the comparison between the various Starship weapons, or at least once they've all been fully upgraded, and also just tacked on there the latest change to the base, which I say I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I think it, yeah, I think it looks shit. It does have a use of sorts, but so there you go. I think that will do for this one. When it comes to doing what I wanted it to do, it has failed miserably. But who gives a fuck? So that'll do then for this one. Now go away.